Now, I know I'm a little early, but that's a good thing. I don't know who need to hear this. Where you stay at, from Florida to Atlanta, all the way down that coastline, okay? Louisiana, all y'all. All I want to say is pack your bags, get your shit, and evacuate. Now, this is not fear mongering, okay? I am here to warn the people, and that's it. But hey, y'all rather talk about Diddy. Y'all rather talk about this shit. Y'all rather talk about what else going on here. You worried about the wrong fucking things. Let me just tell you something. Hurricane Helene, whatever the fuck her name is, that's the one. Okay? I'm not here to joke around. Fuck with y'all. I'm gonna pull up some research. I'm gonna pull up everything that I got so far that I did my research on. We finna dive in. But I'm telling you, that's the one. So everybody in Florida, evacuate, prepare, get what you need, all that. Remember they got gators and shit out there. This ain't shit to play with, okay? Stop playing with it. Anyway, I'm your humble host, Mr. Mass. We finna get into it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get ahead. Anybody coming into my shit, just know I don't play when it comes to this natural weather and disaster shit. Okay? Y'all can joke and kiki ha ha all the fuck you want. This ain't shit to play with. Okay? Now let's go to the experts because I gotta correct them on some shit they've been fucking up and I've been seeing it too long.
Helene will be a powerful major hurricane by Thursday morning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hold up. That's not it. I don't think that's hold on.
We're tracking Tropical Storm Helene as it churns and strengthens over the warm waters of the Caribbean. We're about 48 hours away from
Okay, let me just say this before we go any fucking further. You notice how they keep saying it's tracking it, they tracking it, and it keeps strengthening and strengthening. Well, y'all know if we had to pick where would the hottest water sit for any ocean, it would be between California, over that way, or about Florida, right? Or Texas, right in that area. That whole area is on red alert. I'm just letting y'all know. Now, for one, that should have got y'all. They said when the motherfucker touched down, it's gonna be either a category 3 or 4. That's not shit to play with. We ain't never had. Where in the history of hurricanes have we ever had some shit like that? But y'all want to joke around. I know how y'all do in Florida. Y'all throw hurricane parties and shit. Y'all be turning up thinking this shit is a game. Okay, I told y'all as to evacuate. The nigga that was from Atlanta going to Atlanta to California told y'all motherfuckers to get the fuck out of California. Y'all niggas still don't listen. So it's on y'all. But just know somebody got to warn the people.
landfall, but the Gulf Coast of Florida is bracing for a direct hit, possibly as a major Category 3 hurricane with winds well over
Category 3.
100 miles per hour and a possible 15-foot storm surge. That would be the strongest hurricane America has seen this year, which is why Florida's governor and president.
That's what I'm talking about. This the head honcho. That's why they called it a her. Helene, whatever the fuck her name is. She's not the one to fucking play with. I'm letting y'all know that. So when the shit happen and the shit go down, and I be like, oh, I told motherfuckers, but they ain't listen. Yeah, here you go. Replay this video. Fuck you talking about.
President Biden have already declared a state of emergency, and mandatory evacuations are underway in several low-lying
All the
counties.
motherfuckers should
And
be
while Florida
evacuated. Fuck the low lines, fuck the highs. They all need to be evacuated. That shit ain't nothing to play with.
is expected to bear the brunt of the storm, the entire southeast of the U.S. could feel the impact. CBS's Lonnie Quinn is tracking Helene, and he's going to lead us off with the latest on where and when it's expected to hit. Good evening, Lonnie.
Good enough, Nora. You know, you're talking about the intensity of the storm, how strong it can get. We know there's nothing but warm water ahead of it, so that's going to feed the storm. But does it encounter land or does it not? What we're focusing on, the Yucatan Peninsula. If it sits over that area for any amount of time, it'll be weaker when it emerges and pushes towards Florida. Well, right now, it's right in between the tip of Cuba and the Yucatan. And guess what? The National Hurricane Center believes it may very well thread that needle and not spend any time over land. So it gets stronger and stronger. A Cat 1 by tomorrow, and that Cat 3 is a possibility Thursday as it makes landfall somewhere along the Big Bend. And if it sets up right off the Big Bend to Florida, the Big Bend is like it's like a 90-degree angle.
Y'all gotta
nowhere
pay
for
attention.
that water to go.
Notice this nigga said it's gonna be a Cat 1 when it hits the whatever the fuck. Then he jumped from a Cat 1 to a Cat 3 when it touched down. How the fuck it go from a Cat 1 to a Cat 3, my nigga? Because those waters is hot as fuck. And I don't even think it's gonna be a Cat 3. I think it's gonna be a Category 4. when that motherfucker touched down. This is not shit to play with, people. I'm telling y'all, if you stay in Florida, pack your bags, at least go to Atlanta. Go somewhere close. Go to another state or something. Do not stay in that state, especially on the edge part. Because that shit is not finna be no joke. This is a hurricane. Y'all done been through this shit how many times? We understand y'all party, y'all kick it, y'all have hurricane parties. Y'all don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, take this shit serious. Because this ain't shit to play with. And I'm the one to warn y'all motherfuckers. So after the after effect, I don't want to hear, well, I should have listened. No. I told you motherfuckers, y'all should have listened. But y'all rather listen to the experts. They ain't got it right. This motherfucker said a cat 1 for a cat fucking 3. Nigga, that's 2 notches up, bro. What the fuck? What are you talking about? And then it ain't gonna even be a 3 when it touch down. Plus, y'all lying to the people talking about how big the waves is. Tell them the fucking truth, okay? We sick of y'all motherfuckers, fake ass experts thinking y'all got all the answers when y'all don't even know half of the motherfuckers.
While it is just pushing and churning that water onshore. So if that's the forecast, you got to bump up the storm surge numbers. You have no choice because there's nowhere for that water to escape to. Yesterday, we thought 5 to 8 feet north of Tampa. Now north of Tampa, it could be 8 to 15 feet.
Look at that. How the fuck you go from yesterday, we thought 5 to 8 feet, then jump to 8 to 15 feet. This is the shit I'm talking about. Y'all cannot listen to these motherfuckers. They don't have the answers. They don't know the answers. They just guessed and they going off guesstimations. And 9 times out of 10, they guesstimations be off like a motherfucker. I have to say that.
For a part of our country that does not have much elevation to play with, that could be a real problem, Nora.
Important information, Lonnie Quinn. Thank you very much.
Damn shame lying to people like that. Oh, let's go to another one. Look.
That's now been extended all the way out.
Hurricane Helene weather update. And we're going to check the regular, because I'm going to go to on YouTube too after this. We're going to check the regular geologists and shit and what they be saying. Because I just want to correct these motherfuckers when they be lying right in your face. And people be believing this shit. Oh, you're fine. You don't have to evacuate. You're fine. You'll be cool. This motherfucker jumped from a category 1. When it hits, it's already sitting in the fucking water, and that motherfucker isn't touching more hot waters. So it's gonna be a category 1, right? It's already a category 1. That's what they saying. Okay. Now tomorrow, when it touchdown, it's either gonna be a category 3 or 4. Since when did a category 3 or 4 this year touch land and hit, and then fucking leave a huge mark? That's gonna be damn near the whole state of fucking Florida, all the edge and the coastline. All the way to some other states, Louisiana, maybe parts of Texas. Who knows, okay? And we don't know how far this motherfucker gonna keep going because it's just touching down when it's forming. Y'all gotta make this shit make sense.
With Fort Myers, it's all because of the atmospheric conditions in the Eastern Gulf and Southern Gulf. You're gonna hear the phrase rapid intensification a lot the next few days. Here's what it means. 35-mile-per-hour sustained winds over a 24-hour time frame. So a small amount of time, a massive growth in intensity. That's what we're forecasting.
That's them hot-ass water weathers. You need to tell them the truth. The hotter that it is in the water, the more that motherfucker gonna form. That's why it's called tropical storm. It needs heat and water to fuel. That's its energy source.
Helene, with Helene, though, what was the concern initially, and many are still worried about, this could be the fastest and most intense rapid intensification process that we've ever seen with a tropical system. Whether it surpasses or not, if it's even in that conversation, that is something to be thinking about, and why there's concerns that this could be even more than just a Cat 3, maybe even a Cat 4. That's what you need to prep for.
That's what I was talking about. You heard him. You heard him. You ain't hear from me. You fucking heard what he said. Maybe even a Cat 4. Don't lie. Tell the truth.
Typically warm sea surface temperatures obviously feed into this. We've talked about that. And then excess ocean heat content below the surface. You're thinking about this is going to move right over that shallow water because of the Florida escarpment. That is just the shelf on the eastern side of the Gulf where it's only about 300 feet deep. So instead of going thousands of feet deep where it cools off, it only goes 300 feet. So when it upwells, you're just refueling another warm water instead of upwelling.
Right.
When we talk about rapid intensification,
so you making that motherfucker giving it more steam.
Does it need to pass? Humberto. That was
I believe. Let me tell y'all something. I have to believe that motherfucker gonna be a Category 4 when it touchdown. Then it might be. Hopefully, ain't no waters over us, but y'all know how that shit go on land. That motherfucker can stay together or it can break apart and then have this shit over here, this shit over here. It's tricky with hurricanes. That shit is not no joke. What about what they said? This motherfucker was a cyclone or something? Or am I bugging?
Back in 2007, in a 24-hour time frame alone, it went up 65 miles per hour. My concern is this. Look at this. This is a top 5 list. 3 out of the top 5 have been in the last 4 years. Ida, 2021, Adalia in the same exact region, 2023 last year. Laura impacted Louisiana in 2020. And you're looking at all of this again in the Gulf.
Helene gonna be that one.
Rapid intensification. Helene
You know what's the difference between them and Helene? Helene will be a Category 3 or 4 when she touched down. She will be a Category 3 or 4 when she touched down. So when I say people in Florida evacuate, that's not me just playing. I'm really telling y'all to fucking evacuate. Okay? Take what you can, do what you need to do. You gotta understand how this shit works when it comes to nature. Ain't shit to play with. And for all you motherfuckers and you that be talking about, it's the people controlling the weather and all that shit. Don't give me that. They can't control the hurricane. They don't even have the fucking technology to make one. Stop letting them think and tell you that they do.
That you got to be watching for. So we're going to be queuing in on that. And our next guest actually going to dive into more of what we were talking about, right? The rarity of Helene, but just tropical systems.
They preparing. Look at the sandbags. That shit ain't gonna say shit. I hate to say it to y'all, but y'all need to stop it with the sandbagging. You know the shit is already below sea level, and y'all still out here doing this. This is why I say you can't tell a motherfucker nothing until they see it for themselves. You can never tell a motherfucker something or even rely to a message to them without them having to see it themselves. So I guess it's gonna take you motherfuckers to see it yourself. But guess what? Just know Mr. Mass told y'all ass. That's all I gotta say.
May not be totally certain.
This is gonna be the worst by far hurricane that we had. And the thing about it is when it touched down, that motherfucker gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going. Ain't nobody fucking safe. I'm just here to say that, okay? I don't think nobody's safe. So prepare. This gonna have this is not fear monger. I know people will say that, oh, you fear monger. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just telling y'all what I know. Okay. This motherfucker's gonna have a catastrophic. Okay. It's gonna be one of those. Okay. This might be top notch since Katrina type shit going on right now. Okay, people. So wake the fuck up. Anyway. If your ass is in Florida, anywhere near, I don't care what race you are, white, black, Mexican, Indian, Puerto Rican, Native, I already said Indian, all that. Listen, get the fuck out.
As of right now, but one thing that we can do is track all the factors that we need to relay to you to get that information out.
What do you say on
Louisiana State University professor Jill,
get the fuck out of Players Club. It's one of those situations. Get the fuck out.
What have you seen and what are you expecting out of Helene?
These motherfuckers ain't got no answers. These motherfuckers don't know. We've been listening to these motherfuckers how many times have they been wrong? I'm just saying. And 9 times out of 10 snowed up off coffee and that white stuff. Look at the pupils. These motherfuckers don't know shit. Yeah, y'all listen to these motherfuckers every day. Just like them old folks be listening to motherfuckers on the news, driving their ass crazy. Well, such and such said this about this person, and I don't like this person. That shit don't fucking matter. Y'all crazy. Like, what the fuck is to it?
in the next several days.
But who am I? I don't know
So
anything,
great
right?
question. I think in general,
Who am I to
we
say
absolutely
anything,
expect
right?
rapid intensification. There are a couple of features we know are related to a storm's ability to intensify. One of those is availability of really warm water, which you've of course mentioned. Not only is it exceptionally warm, but it's also deep within that ocean basin. We also need this aerial coverage of rainfall, and that means rain has to really wrap all the way around in somewhat of a symmetric way. And as we watch over the
The
next 24
rainfall
hours,
is
we're
going
going
to
to
be
see
terrible. I'm
those.
telling you. People in Florida, if you stay in Florida, evacuate. I'm not fucking playing. This is not to fear monger anybody. They already said when that motherfucker touchdown, it's going to be a category 3 or 4. Okay, this is not shit to play
Turn
with.
into a different type of system as it begins to really intensify. And I think we're going to see all of those features that are required for a rapidly intensifying event. So my expectation and the research supports that we do see a bit of that rapid intensification growing as we get closer to a coastline, which of course is devastation for the type of people that live along those coastal communities, right? So something we want to keep in mind as we watch this storm over the next day and a half.
And you are in, of course, Louisiana. You are no stranger to this. We think about Ida and Laura, they are in that top 5 list of rapid intensification. So, because of that knowledge and experience, what are you kind of advising people for preparations with Helene?
Not shit.
Okay, first, absolutely get ready now. Start earlier. We all know if we live in the Gulf Coast that things tend to run out of supplies somewhat quickly and things get a little busy relatively quickly. So we want to make sure you're ahead of the game here, getting all of your necessary supplies. You can look to the National Hurricane Center for advice on what that looks like. We also want to think
These motherfuckers, look at this shit. These motherfuckers. Look at this shit. Look at the fuck. Man, you cannot make this shit up, man. I'm trying to tell you. Like, what the fuck be wrong with people? We get it, you tracking it and shit, but look, come on. Y'all play with nature like this shit is a game. And she got to show y'all this every time.
For when we're sleeping.
For y'all to get it, and y'all still don't get it.
Behavior of a system like this is as it's moving into the inland location, it's also moving very quickly forward, right? So we have this combined effect of forward speed along with the actual.
Y'all better prepare. That's all I gotta fucking say.
So we think
down I warned y'all.
Down trees, power lines, and we don't want to sleep in positions of our home where we might have a larger amount of trees on one side, even if it means camping.
Your ass better not be at home.
To stay away from where those trees are.
Take your ass somewhere else.
The feature is, of course, the rainfall. This storm is packing in.
Y'all got sharks and crocs. And alligators in them waters. Don't fucking stay at home. Man, what's wrong with people? They already said that the sharks and the alligators been swimming by the coastline and shit, and closer and closer. Why the fuck y'all think that is? Okay, but who am I? Who am I? Okay, I'm a nobody, right? I don't know shit. I don't know what I'm talking about, right?
Incredible amount of moisture as it moves and is going to continue to grab more as it circulates throughout that eastern Gulf. So you definitely want to keep your mind out for inland flooding, even well into Georgia and further inland. So the storm, as I said, is moving quickly.
Y'all play with Helene with your ass if you want to.
So many important points that you brought up, but one that resonates with me, Professor
Big mama for
is
real.
the fact that you're talking about sleeping maybe in the living room, right? I've been trying to tell everybody Florida's densely wooded. We saw with Hurricane Michael an estimated 30 million pine trees knocked down. Those can be deadly. I want to ask you something about Helene, right? When we look at it, there's so much talk, right, with the weather community. The size of this thing, that seems surprising. Is that surprising you, or is there anything else?
Yeah, why the fuck you still there if you see the size of the fucking thing?
Well, every storm has its own unique features.
This is what blows me, man. Like,
The
what the
storm
fuck?
itself is really large, and part of that is a relationship to the amount of moisture that's available. So it's not necessarily never been seen before. We've certainly seen storms of this.
For the people that can't leave and evacuate, I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do. But the people that can leave and want to evacuate, that can evacuate but don't want to, and they just doing that shit just to, oh, nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna wish nothing but healing to the people that go through traumatic stuff during this hurricane, because this motherfucker is not the one to fucking play with. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Size But I think keeping in mind that a storm of this size then, of course, has far-reaching effects well beyond the center circulation of the system. We may even get.
Good morning. So while Florida will take the brunt of
Helene, whatever the fuck her name is, she ain't nothing to play with. That's all I'm gonna say.
Good morning. So while Florida will take the brunt of the initial storm, I want Georgia, Southern Appalachia to pay attention too, because we've got a lot of impacts that will be widespread. We'll start with where it is. It's now in the Caribbean, just west of the Cayman Islands. It's a low pressure system, but it should soon become Hurricane Helene. And then it will make its way through the Gulf. By Thursday evening, it looks like the Big Bend of Florida takes the landfall. Somewhere in there, that cone, remember, it can go anywhere from basically Tallahassee to Tampa still at this point with confidence in time. That's why we have hurricane watches really from Tallahassee to Cedar Key, down to Crystal River, Tampa, Sarasota even. But those tropical storm watches, because water piles ahead of this, go all the way down to Key West, Naples, Fort Myers included, because the surge piles up. I've been there for many storms that are not even as strong, and you can get major flooding, especially.
There they go with this shit. I've been there for many storms. That's nothing gonna happen. It's not that strong. This. How many storms have you been there for when that motherfucker touched down? It's a Hurricane 3. It's a Category 3 or 4, lady. How many? That close. Fort Myers, even close to the edge. Category 3 or 4? Are you dumb? 2 to 5 feet? That seems like it's gonna be higher than that, boo.
Especially on those kind of barrier islands. So keep an eye on 2 to 5 feet there on the southern end. 4 to 8 feet included there for Tampa Bay. So all of those Clearwater, all those beaches, and then 10 to 15 feet where the bulk of that eye wall will go in. That's Thursday night when the worst of it will be coming through. Flash flooding, tornadoes, and of course, big wind. But look at how far the significant flash flood threat goes. It's not just going to be the rain, 3 to 6 inches widespread, up to 8, 10 into southern Appalachia that could cause major problems, but wind. The wind takes down trees all the way to Atlanta with this one, so we could see some major damage. Good morning. So while Florida will take the brunt of the initial storm, I want Georgia.
Atlanta, y'all ain't safe neither. Y'all better prepare too. But I feel like y'all safer than, the place, the area that's going to get the most impact. And I feel like that's Florida.
All right, guys, we got to talk
experts
about
again.
This storm could bring some serious danger and damage to the Florida Gulf Coast. As of 7 a.m. on Wednesday, Helene is still a tropical storm, but that doesn't make her any less dangerous. She's going over the Gulf of Mexico, which is seeing really warm ocean temperatures, and that's what fuels tropical cyclones like Helene. The National Hurricane Center expects that this storm is going to rapidly intensify and become a hurricane. Forecasters expect that Helene will be a major Category 3 hurricane by the time it hits Florida. But the category size of the hurricane is...
Now they saying it's going to be a 3. I think that motherfucker going to be a 4.
It's not all that you need to be concerned about. This is what you need to look out for: storm surge. You can see from this map that the entire Florida Gulf Coast is expected to feel the impacts in storm surge. All of this is how much the sea level is going to rise in the area. So we're talking an extra 15 feet potentially in this area of Florida alone. This can lead to some serious flooding and erosion, especially in low-lying communities that are close to rivers. And that storm surge doesn't account for all the rain that the storm is also going to bring. Pretty much all of Florida is expected to see between 1 and 2 inches, but areas along the coast will likely see more, and around Tallahassee could see around 8 inches. As with any storm, the forecast for Helene can change very quickly, so go to cbsnews.com to get the latest updates. All right, guys.
Let's continue with the experts.
Tropical storm Helene is expected to slam into Florida as a Category 3 hurricane on Thursday. The governor, Ron DeSantis, declared a state of emergency for Florida.
We're going to get to Ron, too.
Southeast
it's funny,
and a risk of tornadoes. Let's talk about Tropical Storm Helene. All right, so here's our advisory posted by...
That nigga, first off, we're going to talk about Ron for a minute. This nigga made a public announcement. His first public announcement, he was telling people, oh, it's not bad. You should be fine. Just protect your houses and prepare, get sandbags. Then he come back. I don't know who the fuck corrected him on his side. Come back like an hour later. Maybe they got an update or something. Well, people need to evacuate, but still, if you can't evacuate, protect your homes. Then he come back and it's another story. Like, you more patient. See, I don't feel like this is what like I don't understand about a majority or a certain group of people when they think that they can go against nature and do whatever the fuck they want to and act like there ain't no consequence for the shit that you do. badly in this world. Okay, when they talk about everything has a cycle and everything, like what happens, what you do to what happened, what you do to others will come back to haunt you. That's different forms of coming. How that shit gonna come back? That's all I gotta fucking say. Okay, because everybody can have bad luck. Okay, that's not just that's not just be said. That shit. That's me speaking literal. Okay, anybody can have fucking bad luck.
National Hurricane Center. The storm is currently right around Cancun and is expected to be a major hurricane landfall. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to right around here and here. This time is pretty quick. As you guys can see, tropical storm warnings for Key West. You got everything in yellow and tropical storm watches are right around the Everglades National Park up to Metro Orlando. And hurricane watches for everything in orange. Metro Tampa, Cedar Key, Tallahassee, and this Florida Big Bend region. And with this storm, we do have storm surge as well to talk about. So as you can see right around the Tampa Bay, 5 to 8 feet, 10 to 15 feet pushing into the Florida Big Bend region.
10 to 15 feet.
A chance of tornadoes. Being on the right side of this tropical system, the dirty side, the entire state of Florida has some type of risk for tornadoes. The Storm Prediction Center did put on excessive rainfall outlook. Flooding risk for right around the Tallahassee.
That's another thing. Hurricanes can carry tornadoes, all type of shit. It could be like fucking 10 to 20 tornadoes in that motherfucker. Like it's
areas east of Metro Atlanta, going to that Greenville Spartanburg Metro. National Weather Service Raleigh put out a map for the entire state. And as you can see, the mountains is picking up around 6 to 10 inches of rain. And this is what the storm is expected to look like when it moves near Metro Atlanta. So not just Florida, but if you guys live around Metro Atlanta, the Greenville region, Metro Charlotte, or the Appalachian Mountains, definitely check out with your local meteorologists and local officials for updates on the storm. Y'all stay safe.
Shit, even the Carolinas ain't safe. It's a lot of places. Y'all better prepare, man. I'm trying to tell you. I ain't trying to fear-monger shit. The people need to know.
This is a rarity to be this large. And you talk about how far those tropical storm force winds are expected to extend. You can see it. It's from the panhandle of Florida all the way down into South Florida towards Fort Myers. Wait, Matthew Blue had a really good stat about the extent, right? About the reach of the tropical storm force winds. Twice the size of Idalia and Debbie in terms of that radii. It's a massive storm, and that was that's something Brian Norcross was also driving home with us. That's why those impacts, especially when it comes to storm surge, will be so far-reaching across Florida.
Yeah, big storms and also storms that move quickly. Like they present their own set of problems, right? So with these big storms, we talked about how the storm surge tends to be a lot worse because the amount of the way that Norcross communicated, I thought was really great. He was talking about how you picture like you take a long arm and you're pushing water. It pushes more water rather than just a hand that's kind of like closer to a center of circulation in a smaller storm. But yeah, with the wind field this big, this is going to be a big problem, not only as far as storm surge goes, but the wind field is going to be so large that, you talk about all the trees that you have in this part of the country. I think we're going to see very widespread power outages here, especially for Category 3+. And with it moving so fast, a couple of things that brings into the picture too. Number one, you can actually accelerate the wind a little bit on the east side of the system. So, you end up with.
Want to hear from you, little bruh.
Here's your weather update. Let me grab my Pop-Tart because I can't do that without my Pop-Tart. So landmass, aka Mississippi, you're good. Don't go buy up everything at the Walmart. No need to panic. But it is official. The tropical storm is now a hurricane. This is all in fun and games, but I do want to say the Florida Panhandle and anywhere else that's going to be affected by this hurricane, y'all are in our thoughts and prayers. Thank goodness it's not A5 or anything, but you do have to worry about the life-threatening storm surge and flooding, which means the soil will be saturated and it can bring down tall trees, big old trees,
buildings, all that.
I remember seeing that in my Katrina days. So I'm sending all my love and prayers your way, that everyone.
She know what she's talking about a little bit. She was just sending the prayers and warnings to people. What's wrong with that? It's the motherfuckers that think they know everything that irks my fucking nerves. Like, you motherfuckers be so wrong all the time. Yet you try to correct people.
Tuesday morning, very serious update. I know I keep saying that, but we have to keep spreading the word. We don't even have a name system yet, but we now have hurricane watches up for a big part of Florida, and they're going to spread inland there. And this is what I'm worried about. These are the latest intensity models, all showing 920, 930 millibar. That's Cat 3, Cat 4-ish. It's going to be really close to that Florida peninsula, bringing a lot of effects into the peninsula. And wherever that makes landfall, it is going to be devastating, okay? This is not a storm to be messing around with. Now, this is one thing a lot of people tell me they don't realize. These storms spin counterclockwise, and even though that eye looks like it might be far away from you, we're going to see a lot of squally weather through the whole state of Florida coming up around Georgia there before this thing even makes landfall. So it is going to be crappy weather in the Florida Peninsula. And this is what I'm really concerned about is storm surge. They're showing 5 to 8 foot in the Tampa Bay area. We haven't had numbers like that in our lifetime.
Shit.
Footage expected there. Now, here's a little.
I didn't know
that.
that.
These links on my site, but there's parts of Pinellas County that are going to be underwater. There will be evacuations coming. You need to have a plan. You need to know your zone if you're living along the coast. Okay, if they tell you to evacuate, evacuate. That's my, experience. Now, rainfall's going to be a big deal too. We got a lot of ground saturation, heavy rain there in the red. We can see a lot of flooding. We've already got grounds wet. Trees are going to come down easier, adding to the power outages. Now, this thing tracks are pretty solid. But don't focus on that line. The effects go way wide, especially east, okay? Everybody's Mike here Tuesday morning.
Okay, enough of that. Okay, I feel like we did enough of that. Okay, now let's get to the nitty-gritty. Because I want to go to DeSantis and what he was saying. That nigga, first he looked like he wasn't panicking. He went from not panicking to panicking. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, we still here, y'all. For those who tuning in, be sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe to my channel, Mr. Max TV. I just don't do drama, guys, okay? I give y'all updates, reports on news, things like that too, okay? I can't sit there and talk about Diddy and this person and Krishan and all this extra shit at one time, okay? Give me a break now. Jeez. But anyway, and it feels good not to talk about drama. I'm sick of it, okay? I want to talk about something that's really going on right now. The people don't know. Not politics. Don't fucking bring me with that politics shit. I have no time and no patience for that shit. I ain't no flunky. Okay? Anyway, let's see what DeSantis has had to say.
She worked her way up.
I had a summer job at McDonald's.
Speaking of politics, there we go.
I'm very rich.
That's the shit I'm talking about.
When you're rich as hell, we're going to give you tax cuts. She's for you.
When our middle class is strong, America is strong.
My Spotify feels like a road trip. We have so many different emotions and so many different events and chapters of our life.
Here we go. Now I want y'all to pay attention. And y'all ask me how sure do this nigga sound. Does he sound like he 100% sure, 50% sure, 40% sure, 60% sure, 20% sure? What percentage?
Well, good morning. It's great to be back in Tampa. I've got Kevin Guthrie, Division of Emergency Management Executive Director, with me. We also have the Attorney General, Ashley Moody. We're here at TECO Energy in Tampa. They're staging a lot of linemen for the upcoming storm. And we continue to have thousands of linemen pouring into the state. They're being amassed. And then obviously, once the storm passes, they will go and work on power restoration. It is anticipated that there is going to be power outages. So folks have an opportunity to plan for that now. You still have time to make the preparations and put your plan in place today, but that time is running out This storm, I think, as you know, is basically in the area of Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula. It's moving past that, and then it's going to have pretty much a clear runway in the Gulf of Mexico. We,
just DeSantis, just tell the people the damn truth, bro.
of course, began preparing over the weekend. On Monday, I signed an executive order. We now have 61 of Florida's 67 counties that are in a state of emergency, and it's been able to help surge resources and help with preparations there. We did get a partial approval of our pre-landfall emergency declaration from FEMA, but we didn't get approved for what we think we need to get approved for. So we're going to go back and try to get a more robust approval there.
That means more money for them, not the people that for FEMA. I'm just letting y'all know. You heard it out of his mouth. We got a portion, is what he said, which the portion probably was for the people, for the disasters and stuff like that. But we need to get more. So we gotta go back in y'all face. But hey, who am I? I don't know shit, right?
Going to have a significant impact from this storm. It's a tropical storm now. It is going to become a hurricane. The models vary on how
Y'all call it politics. I call it politics.
But there's clearly a pathway for this to rapidly intensify prior to making landfall. You'll see these cones that get produced by the National Hurricane Center. You see these spaghetti models that get put out that I see online, and that's fine. And you should look at that, but just understand this is a very big storm. You're going to have impacts that are far outside of what a spaghetti model would have or what a cone would have. And so here in the Tampa Bay area, none of those spaghetti models or cones necessarily have the eye of the storm hitting Tampa Bay. But even if it's 100 or 200 miles off the coast, you are going to see impacts with storm surge.
Stop lying to them people. The whole state of Florida going to see and feel impact after this motherfucker, okay? No matter what this stuck up ass motherfucker saying while he's sitting there. Look, stop lying to these fucking people. Tell them the fucking truth. Tell them to get shit together and prepare. Like, damn. Is that fucking hard?
You're going to see impacts with flooding. And so just be prepared for that. There have been local communities, counties that have issued evacuation orders in a number of Florida counties. You still have time to be able to do that. And so I would heed those warnings from the wind, and there will be significant wind on this storm, but you got to run from the water if you do have a major surge and you stay behind in that, especially if you're in one of these low-lying areas, that is potentially hazardous. You do not have to evacuate so that you evacuate far enough to not have any impact of the storm. You get to higher ground and get in a safe structure like the shelters that have been open, I know, in Hillsborough County and in other parts of the state, that will be sufficient. Maybe you have friends that are in higher ground. Maybe you have a hotel that you want to go to. You don't have to drive hundreds of miles, but if you are told to evacuate and you're in those low-lying areas, just know that there is the potential to have some significant storm surge. The track currently has the eye of the storm making landfall in Florida sometime Thursday evening in northern Florida. Right now, it's in that Wakulla, Franklin County area, would potentially proceed into the city of Tallahassee. Now, these things can wobble one way or another, but it is somewhat remarkable when I looked at this morning's runs. Most of those models are pretty much in agreement about the path of this storm. Doesn't mean that they're 100% right, but normally you'll have kind of an average of them.
Watch me walk away, putting myself on display. 1, 2, 3 a day, I'm on my way.
But you'll have some that may be further east, some that may be further west. Most of them are pretty close together now. So we do anticipate direct impact somewhere in the northern part of Florida, most likely in the Tallahassee region, but it could also toggle east and end up closer to the heart of the Big Bend, where we saw with Debbie and where we saw with Hurricane Idalia. But again, you're going to have impacts of this storm inland in the state of Florida.
All of Florida is going to feel the fucking storm, no matter what the fuck he say. I'm just letting y'all know. All of Florida is going to feel this fucking storm.
Really all across the Florida peninsula. And even though southeast Florida was not in our 61 counties, the coastal southeast part of Florida, they are probably going to end up with tropical storm force winds as well. So it's a big, big storm, has the potential to have a lot of impacts. So again, you still have time to prepare. Make sure that you're executing your plan. Make sure you have the essentials that you need. We're proud to be here at TECO. I know that Floridians have come to really appreciate seeing those trucks coming into the state with the linemen prior to hurricanes. And they love the fact that the storm passes and you have immediately people going out to try to get the power back on as quickly as possible. That's not the way it works in every state in this country, mind you. I think people have seen recent examples where that hasn't been the case at all.
Yeah, because Texas
So
was
it's
out
great
for a
to have
long
that.
ass time.
I
I'm
know
just saying.
TECO's proactive. I know our other companies.
He not lying
been
about
speaking
that.
with.
They said when that shit happened with Texas, what hurricane was that? I don't know. Idalia or whatever. Yeah, they shit was out for weeks upon weeks, and it's like they was taking their sweet ass time to come to the hood or the urban areas to fix the light and power. But all the area where the rich people stay, they shit was on and ready. I mean, they had the stadium lights fixed before they even had the whole city. Just saying, just so they can have a game. Welcome to pile of shits.
the major companies. I've been speaking with the electrical co-ops, the municipal cooperatives, you name it. They're all hands on deck. And that may not have been true years in the past, but now they're doing this. We have mutual aid from the state that Kevin Guthrie coordinates. And again, we want to get people back on their feet very quickly. Having said that, you will likely lose power. Many people will lose power depending on where you are in the state. So just be prepared for that. Understand that that's something that could happen and have a plan in place so you're able to weather that power outage, however long it is. And we've been fortunate. If you look at some of our most recent storms, you've had significant outages in terms of the number of customers, but the length in which they were out has been historically low in terms of comparison to other storms in other states. So we want to keep doing that. The state's committed to helping marshal resources, but just be prepared for losing power. You also need to know your evacuation zone. If you're told to evacuate, know what zone you're in so that you can get to safety. If you have an issue or a question about whether where you live is currently under an evacuation order, you can go to floridadisaster.org/evacuation orders, and that will list all the counties that have issued those orders. And so I know that you've seen evacuations in some of the barrier, increase of communities' flood risk. You can learn if the dwelling's at risk by visiting FEMA's map service at msc.fema.
Well, at least, okay, I can't say this. At least Florida do warn. The way he doing it, he's actually warning his people and letting them know. He actually also giving them resources. So I can't even talk bad about the man. Since you on one, you're doing what you need to do, bro. Okay, I'm gonna step off your toes and leave you alone. My bad. My apologies. Okay, maybe I went a little bit too far, but still, this hurricane ain't shit to play with. Okay, I'm trying to tell y'all. This shit ain't nothing to joke with. It's not nothing to play with, okay? Don't trust the spaghetti monster.
Whenever Kamala Harris saw something unfair as a kid, her mother would ask, "What are you going to do about it?" So when she saw the big banks cheating homeowners, as an attorney general, she did something about it, winning billions for our families. As president, she will always defend us.
Do you want your YouTube video to get discovered by a lot more people? If the answer is yes, then you should definitely try.
For. So please be careful, especially if you're along the coast. Heed those mandatory evacuation orders. We know that even though I know people are saying, hey, we're not in the cone, but look at all that yellow. That engulfs our entire area. So everyone, regardless of whether or not you're in the cone, will be feeling impacts.
I told you, the whole Florida.
How large the system is. Now, once it
that's
makes
a big motherfucker.
Conditions will improve. We go back to normal heading into Saturday, but for right now, we just want to warn you, look at this. We have different watches and warnings underway. Hurricane warnings still here, the entire area under a tropical storm warning. So here are some of the local impacts county by county to go over with you. We do see that the majority of the impacts for our northern zones start Thursday 6 a.m. to Friday 6 a.m. Impacts are going to be winds 50 to 70 miles.
Look, that shit done went up.
They're going to see some
this is right now,
in
so
terms of what we're expecting for Hurricane Helene because of how close they are to landfall. So closer proximity to the Big Bend is going to be our nature coast right here. So Citrus, Hernando, Pasco, expect your numbers to be higher in terms of storm surge and also wind speeds along the coast. We do see for Pinellas and Hillsborough that we have that impact coming through Thursday, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Friday. The impacts there a little less, but still definitely something you want to take seriously. 45 to 65 mile per hour winds. Bring in the patio furniture. We've done this before. We know what this
Don't
looks like.
play
We're
with
not
them.
here to hype anything up. It's just the facts.
Can y'all hear me? We still there? Anyway, that's all I got, y'all. That's like I said, this shit is not nothing to play with. Don't joke around with this shit. If you stay in Florida, do what you need to do. Prepare, okay? Even Atlanta and the other states that's right above Florida, y'all need to prepare, do what y'all need to do. Because don't take this shit literal. I mean, take this shit literally. Do not take this shit as a game or a joke, okay? If the governor warning y'all, the news warning y'all, like, come on now. Telling y'all to evacuate now, like, listen, come on now. If you can't evacuate, take your ass and evacuate, okay? That's all I'm saying. Now, on that note, that's all I got for y'all, okay? I do appreciate y'all for stopping by. I'm your humble host, Mr. Mask. Be sure to hit that motherfucker like, comment, subscribe, say what's on your mind. If you got family that's in Florida right now, call them, reach out, do something. Tell them to evacuate, stay safe, board up, do what they need to, okay? Because this might be a vacuum. So if nobody else told y'all, just know I did. I'm your humble host, Mr. Mass TV. Until the next one. Peace out.